All right. Greetings. Welcome back to Blackburn News, where everything is connected. How y'all doing? Good to see y'all. Thanks for hanging out with me today and every day. And we're live on YouTube, Rockfin, and on Callin. What's up, Rockfinauts? I see you all. Thanks for being here. We're live on Callin. People on Callin, thanks for being here. YouTube, thanks for being here. We're going to talk a little bit about geoengineering today. A White House acknowledgement. That they're going to look into ways to block the sun. And just like that, the fake clouds appear in the sky in Los Angeles. I was beginning to wonder because there was like no contrails for like days. I'm not going to argue about why contrails form. There were none for a couple days, and it started getting warm. I was like, where are the things at? And bam, like the next day they started up. It's been very, very warm the last couple of days, so they're like, maybe we need to mitigate this a little bit. Wouldn't hurt just to throw a couple up there in front of the sun, like we do. I know. It's weird. It's weird to talk about that. Anyways, good to see y'all. I know it's weird to talk about, but I'm talking about things that I cannot ignore. Things I see with my own eyes that I can't ignore. Like climate change. Things I see with my own eyes that I cannot ignore. The effects of most likely higher UV. I see those things happening. I cannot ignore them. There was another street. The street I used to live on when I was... I've been talking about how the trees have been shrinking in my town. Trees that once created beautiful, lush green canopies over certain streets in my city have now shrunken back to, mere shadows of their former selves. And I was driving down the street, a street that I used to live on when I was in high school, and same thing. The street was filled with trees that formed a canopy, and now that canopy is kind of like, opening up, not quite what it used to be. Trees are much smaller. I see lots of like dead looking branches sticking up with no leaves on them. It's, anyways. And I did forget, but I didn't forget. I didn't forget about the video with Derek Jensen. I don't know where it went, by the way. It kind of disappeared, but I will today play that video with Derek Jensen. Not talking about climate change. talking about something else. But it's an interesting thing that he brings up, Derek Jensen. And it's just a thing that makes you go, huh. Okay. Don't know if I can find it very quickly. Oh, here it is. All right. We'll put that one in the queue. But thank you all for being here. I'm going to get it. Kick it into gear in just a second. I promise. I'm just kind of trying to figure out where to go first. Well, we'll probably start with this. The reason why I'm trying to figure out where to go is because I've got 3 million I want to talk about at the same time and trying to figure out how to tie them all together in kind of a line, you know. But we'll start here. From Steve Austin, White House cautiously opens the door to study blocking the sun's rays to slow global warming. He says, block the sun's rays, let's get on it. Quit using fossil fuels and give up industrial civilization. Never. Which, you know, is how it's going to play out. Right? People are not going to give up their things, industrial civilization and whatnot. All the wonderful things that industrial civilization brings us. People are not going to give that up over their cold dead hands, bodies, whatever you want to call it, however the saying goes. Over the cold dead bodies or prying from their cold dead hands. People are not going to give up industrial civilization. What we'll end up doing is geoengineering and geoengineering and probably totalitarianism until it all falls apart. Right? Locking everybody down or you know, we might end up in a nuclear holocaust. Who knows? And on top of that, just to say, you know, this is the idea that they don't know how to do it, that they don't know everything about it, that they aren't already engaging in it. The idea that it's something that we don't know. We're going to go test it out. That idea is a naive, foolish idea. And I don't care who you are. I don't care what kind of degrees you have. I don't care if you're a professor of a boobity-boop. Well, you know, geoengineering certainly looks promising, or, you know, we've got to do some more study. But, you know, get out of here. You are a child. If you think that they're not, you know, this has been an intense area of study from the Department of Defense, the Armed Forces, DARPA, whoever, has been studying this up and down forever and ever. They know everything about it. They know how it works. They know, you know, the pros and the cons. So if you think that you're just waiting on Keith, what's his name? David Keith or Keith David, I think that's his name, at Harvard, to get it together and figure out their geoengineering tests, and then we'll, you know, it'll be weird when we start actually geoengineering. If you think that is true, you're not up on the game. You are incredibly naive and living in some kind of weird thought bubble. I don't know what. Exactly, Rich Diana. If they say they're working on it, then the jig is up. Right. They're creating a path to admit that, you know, well, this is the thing we're really going to have to go with. And guess what? We've been doing it. That was what the whole, like, you know, the company in Mexico sending up balloons like, well, we're just going to go ahead and do it. Let's see if anybody notices. Oh, and they noticed. If you think that China isn't already geoengineering, if you think that all kinds, Russia, whoever, if you think that all these countries aren't already, especially China, aren't well down the road of understanding exactly how it works and probably implementing it on some levels, I don't care what kind of degrees you have. You're a fool. You're just a straight up fool. I don't. I have a hard time wanting to listen to somebody who's like, well, that's ridiculous. They would never do that because, they would have complications for the earth. All right. Oh, really? It certainly stopped us from doing all the other things that have created complications on the earth, right? So, right. So we acted completely unethically and stupidly in every other facet of life on this planet, industrial civilization. But on geoengineering, we're just trying to uphold the ethics and the boundaries and all that, for safety. I mean, yeah. Anyways, we'll go through this and we'll laugh, I think. A Biden administration report required by Congress outlines research options for a last-ditch effort to slow the heating of the planet. White House says it's not changing its climate strategy. The White House offered measured support for the idea of studying how to block sunlight from hitting Earth's surface as a way to limit global warming in a congressionally mandated report that could help bring efforts once confined to science fiction into the realm of legitimate debate. Well, I wonder what's going to happen when they have this debate. They're not even going to debate it. That's the other really dumb thing about it. Who's going to debate it? Are they going to put it up for a vote? Hey guys, hey people of the world, do you think climate, geoengineering is going to be you think it'll be bad or good? Should we hold off on that? People of the world, yes, don't do it. They'll be like, but we got to, so we're going to do it anyway. So thanks for your input. Bye. That's how that's going to go. If they even offered the option of people having input in the first place, which they won't. They're just going to do it if they're going to do it. And guess what? They've already been doing it. Anyways, the controversial concept known as solar radiation modification is a potentially effective response to fighting climate change, but one that could have unknown side effects. Who knows how this works, stemming from altering the chemical makeup of the atmosphere, some scientists say. Oh, and we certainly wouldn't want to do that. We have no problem altering the chemical makeup of the atmosphere right now as we speak with burning dangerous chemicals and letting them escape into the air, and right? On all, whether they're from your internal combustion engine or from a derailed train tank car. We have no problem changing the chemical makeup of the atmosphere. Like, absolutely no problem. But on this, I don't know. Should we do it? It's laughable. It is laughable. Anyways, the White House report released late Friday indicates that Biden administration is open to studying the possibility that altering sunlight might quickly cool the planet, but it added a degree of skepticism by noting that Congress has ordered the review, and the administration said it does not signal any new policy decisions related to a process that is sometimes referred to or derided as geoengineering. Because that's, only conspiracy theorists think about that stuff. A program of research into the scientific and societal implications of solar radiation modification would enable better informed decisions about the potential risks and benefits of SRM as a component of climate policy alongside the foundational elements of greenhouse gas emissions mitigation and adaptation. The White House report said SRM offers the possibility of cooling the planet significantly on a timescale of a few years. Sounds promising. Still, the White House said in a statement accompanying the report, there are no plans underway to establish a comprehensive research program focused on solar radiation modification. Skeptically or not, that the White House weighed in on solar experimentation at all is remarkable. The concept has created divisions among experts, with some saying it could be the last line of defense against runaway warming if nations fail to reduce their greenhouse gas emissions. And guess what they're doing as we speak? There's no plan to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. I'm sorry, there is no plan. There's no viable plan on the table. There's no real and no commitment whatsoever. So that's the fail is a success. They're going to succeed at failing. While others warn that it could result in an atmospheric substance dependency that, if stopped, could lead to abrupt increases in temperatures, like bunker fuel. The fact that this report even exists is probably the most consequential component of this release, said Suchi Talati, the executive director of the Alliance for Just Deliberation on Solar Geoengineering, a nonprofit that seeks to include developing countries in the debate over solar modification. This report also signals that the U.S. government is supportive of well-governed research. The jokes write themselves, including outdoor experimentation. What? Which I think is quite significant. The report, which was required by Congress in a policy report accompanying the 2022 appropriations bill, was released the same week that European Union leaders opened the door to international discussions of solar radiation modification. It also followed a call by more than 60 leading scientists to increase research on the topic. The 44-page document considers a few plausible ways to limit the amount of sunlight that hits Earth, all of which could have significant drawbacks. One method is to multiply the amount of aerosols in the stratosphere to reflect the sun's rays away from the planet, a process that can occur naturally after a major volcanic eruption. Others include increasing cloud cover over the oceans. Increasing cloud cover, you say? That's one of the ideas, is increase cloud cover. Really? Well, how would you do that? How would you do that? I mean, reducing the amount of high-flying cirrus clouds, which reflect solar radiation back to Earth. So they want to increase cloud cover or reduce cloud cover. One of those two is going to work out. There are risks associated with each form of solar radiation modification, the report said, that can affect human health, biodiversity, and geopolitics. That's because modifying sunlight could alter global weather patterns, disrupt food supplies, and lead to abrupt warming if the practice was widely deployed and then halted. It also wouldn't address air pollution from fossil fuels or ocean acidification, a major threat to coral reef ecosystems driven by the overabundance of carbon in the air and the seas. At the same time, the White House emphasized that it was important to compare those uncertainties with the present dangers associated with a hotter planet. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Climate change is already having profound effects on physical and natural world and on human well-being, and these effects will only grow. I mean, who cares about plants and animals? You know, it's the humans. You know, there's a website called OnlyFans, and everything else on the internet is only humans. And OnlyFans is all about humans too, anyways. That was a really bad joke. Sorry. I'll try better next time. Oh, blah, 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 and then blah, blah, blah. Well, guys, we got it. It's time. We've reached the moment. Guided by the precautionary principle. Well, isn't that nice? It's guys, we're out here acting ethically, and we're guided by the precautionary principle, and that's what guides us, and that's why trust the science and stuff like that. 'Cause we would never do anything like bad. We would never do anything intentionally or unintentionally harmful. We would never do anything like that because we're guided by the precautionary principle. Okay. So ridiculous. So ridiculous. Anyways, I've read enough. I can't take it anymore. But there you go. Now the discussion is going to be a little more out there, but just this whole thing about, well, we don't know. We don't know what the drawbacks will be. Hey boy. Here's a majestic tornado sweeping through Alberta, Canada, just for your wild, wacky weather edification. That's big. That's big. Actually quite beautiful on some level. China has already experienced 4 regional heat waves so far this summer, which arrived earlier and have been more widespread and extreme than in previous years. China beats its own record for hot days over 6 months. So more record-breaking heat. Record-breaking heat. It's not just the temperature on any given day. It's, there's record-breaking, lows, right? Higher lows. The lows seem to get hotter and hotter. That's also one way that we're breaking records. The number of, days over 90 degrees or 100 degrees in the span of a year, we're breaking records that way, et cetera, et cetera. Anyways, China has registered the highest number of hot days over 6 months since records began, according to authorities, as the country confronts another record-breaking summer of blistering heat. In the first half of this year, China saw an average of 4.1 high-temperature days where the maximum daily temperature exceeded 35 Celsius. The highest since 1961, the National Climate Center said in a statement Sunday. China has already experienced 4 regional heat waves so far this summer, which arrived earlier and have been more widespread and extreme than in previous years, according to the center. So far this year, Shijiazhuang, the capital of Hebei province, has seen 17 high-temperature days, followed by Beijing's 14 days. Across the country, 110 weather stations have seen record temperatures, the center said. China's first heat wave this year arrived on May 28th, more than 2 weeks earlier than usual and affecting 15 provinces. By the middle of June, more than 200 million people in northern China were suffering from maximum daily temperatures above 40 degrees Celsius. That's 104 degrees Fahrenheit. And during the fourth and strongest heat wave that lasted from June 21 to 30, Beijing's temperature soared above 41 degrees Celsius. That's 105.8. Setting a new record for the capital's hottest day in June. As northern China suffered scorching heat, the country's southwest was hit by torrential rains in the past week. 4 people died and 3 went missing after landslides triggered by rainstorms and flash floods hit Wenchuan County, Sichuan province last Tuesday, state news agency Xinhua reported. All right. Here's more evidence that tipping points are being reached or breached. The world has already passed a point of no return for global warming, and climate model we observe self-sustained thawing of the permafrost for hundreds of years, even if global society stops all emissions of man-made GHGs immediately. So, what's in the pipe is what we'll have to deal with in the future. Earth system model shows self-sustained thawing of permafrost, even if all man-made GHG emissions stop in 2020. The risks of point of no return, which once surpassed, lock the world into new dynamics, have been discussed for decades. Recently, there have been warnings that some of these tipping points are coming closer and are too dangerous to be disregarded. In this paper, we report that the Eskimo, or ESCIMO climate model, the world is already past the point of no return for global warming. In Eskimo, we observe self-sustained thawing of the permafrost for hundreds of years, even if global society stops all emissions. We encourage other model builders to explore our discovery in their bigger models and report on their findings. The thawing in Eskimo is a result of a continuing self-sustained rise in the global temperature, which passed 1.5 for a week or a couple days in June. So that's happening. Jeez. It goes down smooth. The warming is a combined effect of three physical processes. One, declining surface albedo, driven by melting of the Arctic ice cover. Two, increasing amounts of water vapor in the atmosphere, driven by higher temperatures. And three, changes in the concentrations of the GHG in the atmosphere, driven by the absorption of CO2 and biomass in oceans, and emissions of carbon, CH4, and CO2 from thawing permafrost. This self-sustained in the sense of no further GHG emissions thawing process is a causally determined physical process that evolves over time. It starts with man-made warming up to the 1950s, leading to a rise in the amount of water vapor in the atmosphere, further lifting the temperature, causing increasing release of carbon from thawing permafrost, and simultaneously a decline in the surface albedo as the ice and snow cover melts. To stop the self-sustained warming in Eskimo, enormous amounts of CO2 have to be extracted from the atmosphere. Oh joy. Well, maybe they can work on that geoengineering thing while we figure out how to extract all the CO2 from the atmosphere. Hope they get on that soon. All right. Rockfinners, how you doing? It's the day before 4th of July. I don't know. For some people it's a holiday. For other people, not so much. Let's keep going. A few more things I want to cover before we play this. I'm going to play this Derek Jensen video on Rockfin because I don't know about the sensitivity of this video to YouTube's sweet innocent ears. It's from Amazon Piss Jugs. I'm so enraged they've ruined everything. New report finds most U.S. kale samples contain disturbing levels of forever chemicals. PFAS was found in 7 of 8 samples bought to U.S. stores with organic kale containing higher levels of the toxic compounds. Good God. So when you think you're doing the right thing and eating organic, you're actually getting higher levels. That's how they slip it to you. They tell you it's good for you. This is better than that other stuff. Meanwhile, you get more. You get more than you ever got before. That's horrific. It's horrific. Oh man, this is a great video that Victory Jin sent me. What if the roles were reversed? And this is a video imagining life on Earth with animals being the dominant, progenitors of industrial civilization, and humans being the ones in the wild being exploited. And so let's watch this. Yes. The credit on that is Steve Cutts from YouTube. It's pretty great. Looks like we're operating according to the precautionary principle. So that's how humans are doing it, precautionary, taking precautions. Just thinking about the safety of things and people and animals and plants and children. Just, taking precautions. Speaking of precautions, okay, this is a little bit... It's an interesting point. Is somebody, Jimmy Dore going after Greta Thunberg again. But, where is this? He's retweeting Joaquin Beltran, who says, "Thank you for masking and fighting for a better future, Greta." Greta's sporting her mask because science and stuff. And Jimmy Dore's listing this article: 1.6 billion disposable masks entered the ocean in 2020 and will take 450 years to biodegrade. All right. Go pandemic resistance. She is an easy target, G. Demarest. But, I think that just, and I don't know if I walked into a quicksand trap here on YouTube, but I just wanted to say, it's an interesting thing that I was just thinking about. If you're aware of climate change and you're aware that we're destroying natural processes by acting outside of nature, right? That's pretty basic. I think description, right? And yet, but you have people that believe that we're doing something to the climate change to the planet, but it's like people that push renewable energy, or like people that push, for green growth and green jobs and I don't know what, right? Like, well, we can tackle climate change, but we've got to raise the standards of living of everybody else on the planet before we can do that. Equity, or something. So it's like you're pushing pushing things that are still acting outside of the realms of nature, right? You're pushing a civilization that's still going against nature and claiming that it's science. So yeah, I'm not trying to sit here and beat up on Greta Thunberg. That's not my point. But the point of, people who are worried about our destruction of nature, they're completely buying like the whole, follow the science and just, let everybody, do all the things that they're telling you to do because we got to protect ourselves and humans from nature. I don't know. I don't know if I'm explaining myself, in the best way. I don't know if I'm explaining myself in the best way, but do you understand what I'm trying to say? If I wanted to live in balance and harmony with nature, if I were aligned with nature, I would look for things that were a little more natural. And what are we going to do? It's kind of like geoengineering or nuclear power or something like that, right? Just we're going to do, we understand that we're destroying the planet by our actions and by our insistence on, technology and doing all the things, and, humans being superior to all, and we're just going to figure it out with our technology. When it's that very technology that's destroying the planet, right? When are we going to give it up? When are we going to let go of this? And if it means, that maybe humans aren't going to be around much longer, or a lot of humans probably aren't going to be around much longer, I don't know. At what point do we stop, destroying the planet to save ourselves, knowing full well that we're destroying the planet, right? Yes. So it is a weird place to be. It's a weird place. It's a strange thing to think about. And I'll probably talk a little. I'm going to jump off of YouTube now, so I might finish a couple more thoughts about this, but off of YouTube. But before I do that, very quickly, the best ways to support this channel are buymeacoffee.com/blackbearnews. These are the most direct ways to support the show. Cash App at Red Llama Music, Venmo at Kevin Samblum, PayPal.me/Kevin Samblum. And thank you guys for supporting the show. I really appreciate it. It is very nice that you all show up every single day and support the show. So thank you. I did get a nice donation on PayPal from Andrew Lubbers. Thank you, Andrew Lubbers. I appreciate you. Y'all are awesome. And Andrew Lubbers has been watching the show for a really long time. I don't know how many years, but I know that Andrew Lubbers has been here for several years that I can remember. So thank you, Andrew. I appreciate it. Trying to get back to Colin. Y'all are awesome. Yeah, I think. There's been quite a few people who've been following the show for 3, 4, 5 years. and it's pretty awesome. Y'all have been around for such a long time. All right, so let's continue on Rockfin for a few more minutes. We've got about 50 more minutes. YouTubers, thank you for hanging out. We will see you on Wednesday at the regular time of 12 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, because I'm going to take tomorrow off. And we'll see you over on Rockfin and Colin, right? We're going to continue on. Colin will still be going. All right, thanks, guys. YouTubers, peace out. And